by the sparkling edge of a winding river, high up in the branches of an old tree, a pair of cranes had built their dream home. It was a cozy nest, a fortress of twigs and hope, where they planned to start their family. When the female crane laid 3 beautiful eggs, their joy knew no bounds. They took turns admiring the speckled shells, whispering to the tiny lives growing inside, dreaming of the day they would hear the first peeps of their chicks. One sunny morning, their stomachs growled louder than their caution. Leaving the nest in search of food, they flew to a nearby bend in the river, teeming with silver fish. They feasted quickly, a sense of unease nibbling at them. Rushing back, their hearts pounded in their chests. As their tree came into view, a cold silence fell over them. The nest was empty. The eggs were gone, vanished. They searched frantically, scouring the ground below, but found no trace of the eggs or the thief. A profound, suffocating sadness settled over their home. But life, for a crane, must go on. They built a new nest, hidden deeper in the foliage, and in time, new eggs arrived. This time, they were smarter. They never left the nest unguarded. The male would venture out for food, while the female stood watch, a vigilant sentinel. Days turned into weeks, and their hope grew with each passing moment. Then, one terrible morning, the male returned from the river to a sound that shattered the calm, the desperate, heart-wrenching cries of his mate. He rushed to the nest to find her trembling. The eggs were gone. Again. Through her sobs, she told him of the attacker. A long, sleek snake had slithered up the tree. She had fought bravely, but the snake was too strong, forcing her to watch in horror as it devoured their future, one egg at a time. Grief-stricken and burning with a need for revenge, the male crane sought out the wisest creature he knew, an old crab who lived in the muddy banks. He poured out his tale of sorrow and the snake that haunted them. The crab listened patiently, his tiny eyes thoughtful. "Don't despair, my friend," the crab finally clicked. "There is a way, but it is a gamble." He whispered his plan, a scheme so clever and dangerous that it made the crane's feathers ruffle. It involved pitting their enemy against another. With a heavy heart, the crane agreed. When the female crane laid her eggs for a 3rd time, they put the crab's plan into action. The next morning, the male crane flew to the riverbank and caught a trail of small fish. He laid them in a path leading from the burrow of a hungry mongoose, a fierce predator, all the way to the base of their tree. Then he flew to the snake's den. From a safe distance, he crowed loudly, "Fresh eggs! In the old tree by the river! A feast for the taking!" He was terrified he was leading another monster to his precious eggs. The mongoose, lured by the scent of fish, followed the trail. Just as it reached the tree, the snake, drawn by the crane's announcement, slithered into the clearing, its eyes fixed on the nest above. The 2 predators saw each other. The mongoose, viewing the snake as a rival for the meal, lunged. A fierce and violent battle erupted at the foot of the tree. Scales and fur flew as they fought, a whirlwind of claws and fangs. From their nest, the cranes watched, their hearts pounding. Finally, with a last powerful bite, the mongoose killed the snake. The cranes let out a long, shuddering relief of relief. Their tormentor was dead. The next day, they returned from fishing, feeling a lightness they hadn't felt in months. But as they approached their tree, that lightness turned to ice. They saw the mongoose, belly full, slowly climbing down from their nest. With a cry of pure dread, they rushed to see. The nest was destroyed. The eggs were gone. In their desperation to defeat one enemy, they had led a far more dangerous one directly to their door. The mongoose, it turned out, had an even bigger appetite. Friends, the story of these cranes is a mirror to our own lives. So often, in our moments of deepest fear and frustration, we look for a quick, satisfying solution. We want to destroy the snake that is hurting us, but in our haste, we forget to ask a crucial question. What happens next? We take out a loan to fix a small debt only to be crushed by a much larger one. We escape a bad situation by jumping into another, not realizing it's worse. The lesson of the cranes is a powerful one. When you face a problem, don't just look for the nearest weapon. Take a breath, pause, think 3 steps ahead. Consider the consequences of your actions, or you might find that in solving one problem, you've created a monster. If this story touched you or taught you something valuable, please leave a like and a positive comment below. It truly helps us bring you more stories like this. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another tale. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next story.